She's the fan favorite who spent 33 years portraying Irene Roberts on Channel 7 juggernaut Home Away, and as Lynn McGranger finally farewells Summer Bay, she admits she's had the ride of her life. This show is made up of so many parts, the actress told assembled cast members before exiting the show's Heavily Studios in Sydney for the final time in March 2025. "You're all amazing, and it's been my great privilege to work with each and every one of you. I'm touched, I'm humbled, and I'm so honored. Thank you so much." It's an emotional end of an era both for the actress and the character, who's been lighting up the Bay with her catchphrases, "Think, Darl, Flippin' Heckin' Girly," for 3 decades. And along with the trademark quips and bright clothing, there have been a good few dramatic storylines along the way. Cast your mind back and take a trip down memory lane. When Irene Roberts first entered Summer Bay back in the 1990s, fans would never have thought she would become a show favorite. Originally played by Jackie Phillips, the character was depicted as alcoholic and abusive, particularly toward her children. The original incarnation of the character was not liked by viewers, with Phillips later revealing she would be called a rotten BH when out in public by those who disliked her character's on-screen actions. Lynn McGranger took over the role in 1993, initially as part of a 3-month stint, and the character evolved, with Irene getting sober and becoming a pillar of the community. She'd later be given a full-time role. However, in a 2024 storyline, Irene, then sober for 9 years, relapsed after being conned by Bronte Langford. The shame and despair that she feels is why she goes back to alcohol, because it's an escape for her, as most alcoholics know, Lynn explained in an interview with TV Week. Irene caused embarrassment when she turned up intoxicated for an interview with a local newspaper, and viewers later saw her check into rehab again. The closest Irene got to ever getting married was when recovering alcoholic Ken Smith arrived back in the Bay in 1999. Irene had been fostering Ken's son Will, and she and Ken connected, getting engaged later that year. Tragically, the pair were never to get the happy ending they longed for. Just before the wedding, Ken died when a car he was repairing at the garage fell on him. Tragically, Irene had experienced a premonition about his death, dreaming that he'd been calling her to follow him to the edge of a cliff. It turned out that in saving money for the wedding, Ken had neglected to make repairs in the garage that would have prevented his death. Even if she did fall in love and get married, chances are it wouldn't be happily ever after. Something hideous would happen, Irene laughed in a later interview with the West Australian. "I quite like the fact she is very unlucky in love. Either they do the dirty on her or they die. She is almost like a black widow in a way, as is Leah, Ada Nicodemu." In 2015, in a storyline that rocked Summer Bay, Irene revealed she'd given up a child for adoption after having been raped as a teenager. In a twist, her son Mick Jennings turned up at her house one day, pretending to be someone else, and when Irene became suspicious of his motives, a scuffle ensued. In shocking scenes, Irene was kidnapped, and for 6 weeks she was kept captive by her secret son, with Mick sending messages from Irene's phone giving the false impression that she had simply reconnected with him. When Mick forced Irene to walk through the bush, threatening to leave her lost and alone, just like she had with him, she hit him over the head with a rock and he was later arrested. Irene Roberts faced a fair few brushes with the law over the years. But who remembers the time she was accused of murder? Back in 2009, Irene faced murder charges after her partner, Lou Dabano, died during a sailing trip. Lou was the owner of a prawn trawler business that supplied fish to the diner, and after a bit of drama involving his ex-wife, Lou invited Irene on his private yacht so the pair could get to know each other better. Weeks later, Irene was discovered alone on the drifting yacht. She said she'd heard a gunshot in the night, and in the morning Lou was gone, and it was the beginning of a nightmare ordeal for Irene. His body was later found at sea, with a bullet wound. Irene and Lou's ex, Donna, were both suspected of killing him, and it was only after Irene had spent several weeks in prison, an ordeal that led her to relapse with booze, that it was revealed Lou had been shot by people smugglers.